Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. An expert warns of a crisis in child development because youngsters are spending too much time using phones and tablets.
I'm seeing a lot more children being referred with poor social skills, poor attention and listening skills, plus speech and language delay. It's reached the point of a crisis now.
Well, it comes as figures suggest more than a quarter of 3 and 4-year-olds already have their own phone. Also tonight, the final verdict on reopening Doncaster Sheffield airports could be delayed as local leaders weigh up the benefits of spending millions in public cash. And the family of inspirational North Yorkshire teenager Liz Hatton thanked the team who cared for her during her cancer treatment.
And can Doncaster Rovers pull off an FA Cup giant killing? I'm live at the Eco Power Stadium as they prepare to face Premier League Crystal Palace.
Well, it's been another bleak day following what was a bleak weekend. Any hope on the horizon? Well, join me for that detailed forecast.
Hello, good evening. I hope you had a lovely weekend. Now, if you have a young grandchild or child, you may have given them a device in a cafe or at the supermarket, maybe in the car. Is it really that bad? Well, a speech and language therapist in Yorkshire is warning the amount of time that preschool children are spending on phones and tablets is causing a crisis in their development. New research has found that more than a quarter of 3 to 4-year-olds already have their own phone. And there are now calls for a public health campaign to make parents aware of the impact. In a moment, we'll get some advice for parents. But first, I've been to a school in North Allerton to find out more.
What can I dig with this one?
What could you dig? Well, you could scoop. Why don't you scoop up the soil that's fallen out?
This morning, these 3 and 4-year-olds at Mill Hill Community Primary are planting seeds in the outside area, learning through hands-on experience.
Who's going to do the stirring? Are you stirring?
It's something early years teachers here feel some children are missing out on, which is impacting their communication skills.
Our biggest concern is our children don't have the language to talk about the world around them. So it can be in terms of their social skills, so they are not used to articulating their wants, their needs. Some children really don't even have the language to say, please can I go to the toilet? So we're seeing children who are frustrated.
Do we think it's going to be hot, hot, hot?
Kate Beck is the head of early years. In her 2 decades as a teacher, she says she's seen a steady decline in children's language skills and believes screens are a big factor.
We have some children who come in with some fabulous American accents or even American vocabulary. So nappies become diapers, garbage and stores instead of shops. They're definitely hearing that from the screen. The impact really is that they're not experiencing the world firsthand. They're seeing it through somebody else's eyes. So they're even down to the fact that they're watching children playing with toys on YouTube. So they're not even playing with them themselves.
Would you like to make a pizza now? Yes.
Sandy Chappell has been a speech and language therapist for 30 years and says the rise in referrals for 2 to 5-year-olds is alarming. She's part of the Health Professionals for Safer Screens group, calling for a public health campaign around the impact of screens on younger children.
I'm seeing a lot more children being referred with poor social skills, poor attention and listening skills, plus speech and language delay. It's reached the point of a crisis now in children's development. I think parents know that it might be bad, but they don't know how severe the harms are.
Some parents might use a device to calm their child down or so they can do some chores. Is it really that bad?
It is, because it soon becomes a habit, because it works. But then children don't learn to regulate their own emotions. And when that device isn't available, such as in the classroom, then they can have severe behavioural problems, and that's what teachers are having to deal with.
An Education Committee report found the harms of screen time significantly outweigh the benefits for young children. And a recent study suggested the average 3-year-old is exposed to nearly 3 hours of screen time per day, potentially missing out on over 1,000 fewer adult words and 200 conversational turns per day. A group of health professionals have come up with some guidance for parents around how much time younger children should be spending on screens. And it's recommended that from birth to 2 years old, no screens at all other than video chats with family and friends. And from age 2 to 5, 30 minutes maximum per day. Is that realistic?
Never. It's never going to happen, especially when they've got siblings that are on it a lot longer, so they want to be the same as them.
If they've got a screen in their face half the time, they're not there, like they don't really talk to you or anything, so it's like I try and avoid that.
Sometimes when he's getting really excited, it can be a struggle to get it off him.
Do you ever have any problems trying to take the device off them?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes they don't want to take the mobile back. So.
As we all battle our time on screens, teachers here are encouraging families to embrace real experiences together. Well, the government has told us it's urgently working towards strengthening family services and that more robust evidence is needed to reach clear conclusions on the impact of smartphones on children. They also say that they're carrying out new research into this. Let's get another perspective on this now and some advice for parents. Dr. Fiona Scott is an expert in digital literacy at the University of Sheffield.
It's very tempting to look at technology, digital devices as being the problem. But I think we need to look at what children's lives are like, what conditions are like for families and preschoolers. We know that people need a lot more support. We know that parents are working a lot more. And actually, if we care about children's literacy and children's well-being, it's about investing in things that will support families to support that, rather than sort of vilifying technology. There is actually research to suggest that in some ways digital technology, certain types of screen time as it's called, can be really good for children's literacy. I think the important thing is that we are focusing on what are children doing, what is the quality of that experience, how are they being supported, actually having some exposure to certain things online can be a positive, again, if they're getting support to sort of make sense of that and to develop the skills that they need to be functioning in a digital world.
OK, let's move on now. You're watching Monday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. A campaign to save a natural wildlife habitat in North Yorkshire gets the backing of none other than Dame Judi Dench. But before that bit of stardust, a final decision on whether Doncaster Sheffield Airport should reopen is expected to be delayed now until the summertime. It's because South Yorkshire's Mayor wants more independent advice to see if it's actually a good investment. At a meeting tomorrow, he'll decide whether to commit millions of pounds of public funding. The plan is to follow a similar route to Teesside Airport, which was bought by local councils in 2019. Our transport correspondent Spencer Stokes can tell us more.
A busy airport, planes repeatedly landing and taking off at Teesside. But these are EasyJet training runs. There are no passengers on board. Winter weekdays see just a handful of actual departures. Low passenger figures are one reason why former owners Peel Group pulled out. And so Teesside Airport is now owned by the local authority, who's spent £70 million so far. An investment for the future, according to the airport's manager.
People will ask me, was it the right thing to save Teesside Airport? Absolutely it was, because I can stand here now and know what we've brought in, what is going on, looking at the jobs that we're bringing, what we're doing for the wider economic regeneration. I do applaud Doncaster for doing it. I can see why they're doing it, and you've got to look at how you can differentiate. They've got a number of airports around them. They can't just be looking at, looking to grow from passenger numbers. You've got to be looking at other revenue streams.
Even when there are no passengers, Teesside is generating money. There's an aircraft repainting business, air defence contracts, and regular freight flights from Paris. Another income stream for the airport is the maintenance of aircraft. This one here has had its engines removed to be serviced. Highly paid, highly skilled work, employing 200 people. Like Teesside, Doncaster Council say the airport will create jobs, up to 5,000 directly. But one sustainability expert at Sheffield University thinks there are better ways to boost the local economy.
We're looking at a large public investment in the airport itself. So if you want to encourage businesses to come, you could be directly funding those businesses. You could be offering the low-cost loan that you're going to give to Fly Doncaster Limited directly to those industries and companies that you want to come to the area. And to me, that seemed maybe a more logical approach to do that, to attract the industries directly than try and attract them indirectly through creating an airport and then hoping that that will bring in and be a catalyst for that investment from other organisations.
DSA also needs to attract airlines, and the Ryanair boss was less than convinced at a recent press conference.
Well, Doncaster's a hard sell. We used to fly Doncaster, there isn't much of a traffic base there. I think it's a very tough sell for somewhere like Doncaster in the shadow of Leeds Bradford.
Back at Teesside, the airport is halfway through a 10-year turnaround plan. It says the aim is to make its first ever profit in the near future.
How hard is it to get it right? Because you're not making a profit yet, are you?
No, they're very hard, because the big thing that Teesside is all about, and I would imagine that Doncaster they're wanting to do, it's about the economic regeneration. These are powerful beasts if you get them right, and there's a big if because there's a lot of work to be done.
Reopening isn't a done deal for Doncaster. More money is likely to be awarded tomorrow, but there'll be further assessments before commercial air traffic gets the all clear to return to the city. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, Doncaster.
Well, on Look North tomorrow, we'll be speaking to South Yorkshire Mayor Oliver Coppard to get the latest on the reopening plans. Let's get some of the other day's news now. A 10-year-old girl has died after being hit by a car in Bradford. The incident happened on Ransdale Road at around 6:30 last night. The girl was taken to hospital but sadly died from her injuries this morning. A 16-year-old girl also suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. A driver of a silver Toyota Yaris, a 35-year-old man, has been arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. Nurses at Bassett Law Hospital's intensive care unit could take strike action over a plan which would see them spend 2 months of the year working 20 miles away in Doncaster. Staff have already voted to strike, and talks today concluded without an agreement. The Trust says the plan is essential to maintain skills and experience wherever they're needed. But nurses are worried the extra travel time could see them working 16-hour days.
Many of them have got small children, some of them are carers for elderly relatives, and they fit that around working locally. This is our local hospital. None of us have ever been on strike. It was the last thing on our minds, but we've been pushed to that limit.
Next tonight, a community group looking to safeguard a natural wildlife habitat in North Yorkshire has received backing from one of the country's most well-known actors. I probably don't need to tell you her name, do I? It's Dame Judi Dench. She's supporting a campaign to buy Townend Field in the picturesque village of Great Ousburn. That's between York and Harrogate. However, locals are in a race against time to raise a whopping £300,000 by the end of the month. Phil Bodmer has more.
Yeah, it's brilliant. As you walk down here, you see all those established habitats.
With a variety of woodland, marsh, meadows and streams, Townend Field is a special place, home to declining birds like the spotted flycatcher and tree pipit.
Yeah, you can't recreate these habitats just like that once they're lost. The reed bed, the veteran trees, the grassland.
Members of the Upper Ouse Conservation Trust say much of the land is unimproved, having a no use of chemical fertilisers in living memory.
It's a site of importance for nature conservation, so there's lots of important species down here which can only be better. It's a terrific, characterful part of the village, and we're hoping to be able to buy it, to retain that, to give the community access to come down here and play and admire the view, and to give the school a playing field for the kids who haven't got a playing field at the moment.
The Trust is in discussions to buy the land before March and has received some high-profile support.
It's quite vital. We need to be quick about it. Please join me if you can. It's an area that my brother, who was a doctor as well as my father, used to visit in, so I know it well.
If successful, around half an acre would be set aside for the local primary school for a much-needed playing field.
If we had all the children out at the same time, this wouldn't be a space to, to do cartwheels and forward rolls and play football and all the things that you should be doing when you're a 7-year-old at primary school. It would open up the curriculum massively. I think we've got lots of children who things are quite difficult at the moment of being anxious, and that being out in nature is one of those things that just, from a social and emotional point of view, just incredible.
For the children, a field rather than a small area of AstroTurf would make a big difference.
I took some money out of my savings money, and instead of buying something, I I brought it into a meeting for the school field behind our school.
How much did you put in, can I ask?
£21.
£21?
Yeah, we have to have 2 separate playtimes instead of one altogether because there's not enough space.
For many here, there is a real concern about the potential for development.
The village isn't against housing as such, and, you know, as I said, we can't guarantee what would happen to it if the trust didn't purchase it. But this space is such a special space that the only way we can guarantee it's protected is if the trust purchase it.
The views here even inspired one of Yorkshire's literary greats. The Trust are hopeful the landscape will remain the same for generations to come. Phil Bottomer, BBC Look North, Great Ousburn.
And we'll let you know how they get on with their campaign. Sally is here now with the latest sport. Big night for Donny Rovers, Sal.
Yeah, and we'll be going live to the stadium in just a little while. But let's start first of all with Rugby League and the Challenge Cup. And in the third round, there was a classic upset as the Bradford Bulls beat Super League's Castleford Tigers by 18 points to 16. The first half was dominated by the Bulls as the underdogs. Now take a look at this run by Tom Holmes, unchallenged for almost the entire length of the field, apart from the mascot there, to give Bradford a third try with the score 17 points to 0 in their favour before the break, much to the delight of fans. But the Tigers roared back in the second half, reducing the deficit, and Tex Hoy gave Castleford a chance to take the game to Golden Point extra time with this try in the dying minutes of the game. It all came down to his conversion though, which drifted just wide, giving Bradford the win.
I'm thrilled for the players because you can feel the euphoria that they've knocked a Super League team off, a good one, and they deserve maybe a couple of beers tonight before they go back into training tomorrow. For a part-time club and a part-time effort, I think it's outstanding on the players' behalf. They were great today, and they made the second half really hard for themselves.
Now to the FA Cup, and Doncaster Rovers are this region's last remaining team in the competition after Leeds were knocked out by Millwall at the weekend. Doncaster are in fact the lowest ranked team still in contention, and tonight they face Premier League side Crystal Palace in the fourth round. It's a sellout game at the Eco Power Stadium where Olivia Richwald is live now. Olivia.
Yes, hello Sally. Excitement is growing here at the Eco Power Stadium and the crowd is starting to arrive. Lots of noisy fans over there. So of course it's League Two versus the Premier League, and everyone's wondering if Doncaster Rovers can pull off a giant killing by shattering the Crystal Palace defence and of course scoring more goals than they do. Doncaster fans are also hoping that their team will take inspiration from Plymouth Argyle, who of course beat Liverpool 1-0 just yesterday. Here's what some of the fans had to say to me as they arrived.
I don't think we'll have a bad game, to be honest. I just hope we don't go 2-0 down like first 10 minutes.
4-1.
To who?
To Donny. My head's saying Palace win, 3 or more goals. My heart is a 2-1 Donny win. You've got to back your team, haven't you? But anything can happen in the FA Cup.
I hope we do win, because it would be good for the club and for Doncaster as well.
Well, joining me now is Mickey Walker, who's the former director of football here. Now tell me, what do Doncaster Rovers have to do to win tonight?
Well, naturally score more goals than Crystal Palace, but they've got to be at it tonight. I mean, the poor result at Chesterfield the other night, but Crystal Palace, fantastic football club. Doncaster Rovers, in my heart, is even bigger. You know, it's a marvellous football club, and they've got young lads in there. They've got a strong squad. The manager's excellent. Got a great squad around him of staff and assistant. So all tonight to play for, and there's a winner. There's got to be a winner. So you know, and I know. I don't like losing.
Well, Doncaster Rovers are doing really well in League Two. They're currently third and pushing for promotion. Is there a danger that a cup run could jeopardise that?
No way at all. Not with fans like this round here and that. Yeah, I mean, you'd look at it where you expect to winners like Liverpool the other night. Sadly to say, they've lost. Doncaster Rovers would like to go up automatically and also have another chance if they can win tonight, or should they win tonight, and when they win tonight, and that'll be it.
Brilliant. Well, let's hope they can do both. You never know. Well, tonight's game is being broadcast live on the iPlayer, and there's an added incentive for all the players tonight because the FA Cup 5th round draw is taking place beforehand. So as they go onto the pitch, they will know who the winner is going to face next.
Thank you, Olivia. And you can listen as well to full match commentary on BBC Radio Sheffield and watch on the iPlayer. Now, in the Championship, Sheffield United moved back into the automatic promotion places with a 2-1 win over Portsmouth. Goals from Gustavo Harmer and this from Jesurun Raksaki helped the Blades to victory and take them within 2 points of league leaders Leeds. And in League Two's Yorkshire derby, Bradford came out on top over Harrogate with a 1-0 victory, their 7th consecutive home win. Anthony Sarkovic scored the winning goal, keeping the Bantams in touch with the automatic promotion places. Now, the Sheffield Sharks are through to the Super League Basketball Cup final, their first major final in 7 years. The Sharks beat Bristol by 154 points to 127 on aggregate in their semi-final second leg at home yesterday. They will now face the Surrey 89ers in the final in Nottingham on the 9th of March. And finally, an army veteran from West Yorkshire who lost his leg in Afghanistan has proposed to his girlfriend at this year's Invictus Games in Canada. James Cairns from Home Firth asked his partner Hannah Wilde to marry him at the opening of Team UK's wheelchair basketball match in Vancouver yesterday. He described it as his gold medal moment when Hannah said yes. Congratulations to them. That's a cute story.
Romantic. Thank goodness she did say yes, because it would have been a whole different story if she'd said no. Thanks, Elle. Now, the family of teenager photographer Liz Hatton, who inspired people around the country, including the Princess of Wales, have been back to thank the team in Leeds who cared for her during her cancer treatment. Liz, who was from Harrogate, died in November at the age of 17 after living with a rare form of the condition. James McCubbin reports.
Liz Hatton died last November, just 10 months after being diagnosed with cancer. Thanks to a bucket list prepared with her mum, those 10 months were spent living. She photographed with Rankin.
Looks great. Looks great.
She held her own photography exhibition in London. She met royalty.
Home from home, right? That's what Liz reckoned.
And her family say that was possible because of the care of her oncology team at Leeds Children's Hospital. So today they have returned to say thank you.
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right on a good day. Liz was dealt the worst hand with her diagnosis, but she was dealt the best hand with where she ended up. Ward 31 became her second home. They gave her that confidence that even though she was poorly, she could go out and do things.
Liz never stopped taking photos, not even on Ward 31.
She was so different when she was behind that camera. I mean, yeah, she was magical.
The ward that gave her a reason to live when medicine couldn't help her survive.
And I remember coming to London to see her at the exhibition, and prior to that she'd had a really difficult few days. And when I got to the exhibition, there was Liz just looking amazing. And it was like, wow.
Liz really taught me that you can have conversations about uncertainty. You can have conversations about a lack of knowing. And it doesn't really matter that you're only 16.
Liz's dying wish was to push for better research.
When she died, she wanted her body to be donated to medical research, and I've not had a young person under my care do that before.
Liz had 17 years on this earth, but her parents and her medics helped her to cram as much life as possible into those years. And even in death, she is paying that back. And perhaps her biggest legacy is this. Because of her death, today we're talking about the incredibly rare cancer which took her life.
Desmoplastic small round cell tumour.
Everybody leaning towards me a little bit.
And her family are fundraising for much better research.
She was so brave and she wanted to make a difference.
And she is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
She sounds remarkable.
Yeah, she was a remarkable young woman.
She makes me proud every day, still.
She certainly was a wonderful young woman, wasn't she? Right, finally tonight, get ready to scan a QR code on your TV in a moment because we want to hear about your local boozer, the local pub. To mark 40 years since EastEnders hit our screens, whether you watch it or not, you will know the name, the Queen Vic, because special events have been held with the real Queen Vics this weekend, including Barnsley, as the show's famous bust, that's the thing that's on your screen now, goes on tour. Stop laughing in the background, Paul Hudson. Please send us any photos you've got showing life in your local pub, or even some video telling us why you love it so much and what makes it special. You can scan that QR code on your screen and WhatsApp us, or you can email look.north@bbc.co.uk. Get out of my pub, Hudson.
Right, yeah. So if I say the Bolt Makers in Keighley, I might get a free pint for saying that, mightn't I?
Oh my gosh, she's always after a free
madness here. Right, can I show you?
You can judge a good pub by the quality of its pork scratchings, I think.
Well, they've got good pork scratchings in there as well.
Well, I'm in.
I'll have a free
Welcome
bag
back,
of
by the
those.
way, from another holiday.
Let me have a look. Yes, it was very nice, but not so nice on Marsden Moor. Look at that. That's around, to be fair, that's around about 400 metres up, so it's very high. But if you're travelling across the M62 Snake Pass, then there will be just a little bit of snow around, but it's certainly been bleak. A little bit of spring there in Denby Dale, but you can see it remains fairly bleak, and we've got this sort of setup at least for the next 24 hours. If you've got any pictures you'd like to send them to me, the addresses are on your screen right now. So your headline is similar to today: cloudy with rain and drizzle, some mist, extensive fog over the higher level routes, a block situation, high pressure there, the Atlantic cannot break through, so we're left with this awful cold, cloudy easterly with drizzle and rain. Although from midweek we should see slightly thinner cloud, and that means by that time, by Wednesday, Thursday, it should be predominantly dry. But look at the extent of the cloud streaming all the way in from Denmark there. And there's no breaks in the North Sea, so we're not going to get any across us. So this evening and overnight, it is cloudy, damp, with patch outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Watch out for that fog and a little bit of snow over the highest level routes. Temperatures coming in at around about 3 Celsius. That's 37 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow's high water time, Scarborough 3:22, Bridlington at 3:52. So tomorrow again is cold and breezy with occasional rain and drizzle, a little bit of snow over the tops of the hills. There'll be some drier periods just like today, but that patchy rain never far away, especially from eastern areas and over the top of the Pennines. Temperatures around 5 or 6 degrees Celsius. A subtle improvement midweek. It stays cloudy but predominantly dry, and a hint of some brightness coming in for next weekend. That's the forecast, Amy.
Did you have a lovely time?
Beautiful, absolutely stunning.
Welcome back.
Thank you very
missed
much.
you.
Have you?
Ish. Sort of. I might regret saying that by tomorrow. That's it from us. Corinne's here with your late news. Bye-bye for now. Of course we did.